Chapter 1 Opening the Codex. Lyric stands beside the strange male, their eyes gazing up at a nearby wall. A bookshelf rests against the wall, lining it like a thick paint. About 30 feet above their heads, a balcony extends from the bookshelf. The male lets out a deep sigh, speaking with a subtle voice. You dragged me halfway across the endless library, just to gawk at a balcony. It's not that high up. Not that high up. It would take us half a day to climb up there, and that's if we're lucky enough not to fall. Don't be such a downer, Cade. Have a little faith. Cade? Yeah, Cade. Do you like it? Don't tell me you don't like it. I've been trying to come up with a name for you since we got here. You mean to tell me that you've been staring up at that balcony for 10 minutes, trying to come up with a nickname for me? Well, yeah? You can call me Cade. Great! Now back to the matter at hand. How are we going to get up there? Cade let out a heavy sigh, sitting beside Lyric. Take your time. It's not like I have anywhere else to be. She took a few minutes to think it over, before looking down to him. Hey, Cade. Yeah? Are you afraid of heights? Huh, no. Why do you ask? Is there some invisible staircase we're going to have to climb? This is a magical library able to record every event in history, and you think we're going to climb up a flight of stairs. I didn't think you were that naive, Cade. Well, how are we really going to get up there, oh wise one? Cade said with a bit of sarcasm, but it seemed Lyric took it as a compliment. I'm glad you asked, my lovely apprentice. She lifted her right hand, grabbing hold of the air. Cade looked up to her, responding. Did you just call me apprentice? But before he could finish, they were both thrusted into the air. Cade let out a quick shout before grabbing hold of whatever he was sitting on. The wind forced him down into his seat, making him feel as though he weighed 30 pounds heavier. He grit down on his teeth, forcing his eyes shut. His heart sank to the bottom of his stomach, throbbing 10 times faster. After a few seconds passed, he heard Lyric call out to him. Hey, are you coming? His eyes opened just a sliver, noticing that the edge of the balcony rests only a few feet away. His eyes lower, peering down at the spiral staircase now lifting him into the sky. Cade's butt was resting on the final step, holding on to it for dear life. He looked to his right, seeing a thin metal pole connected to his step. He eased himself over to it, grabbing hold of the cold steel before pulling himself up. Lyric calls once more. Come on, slowpoke. What happened to not being afraid of heights? I'm not afraid of heights. I'm afraid of standing on something that appeared out of nowhere, 30 feet above the ground. So, in other words, afraid of heights. Shut up, you. He looked to his feet, then to the balcony's edge. It was only about 1.5 feet away, but something made it feel slightly further than it actually was. He quickly leaped to the balcony, jumping twice the distance he needed to. He stumbled forward, landing directly in front of Lyric. See? It wasn't that bad, she said, smiling. Cade immediately pointed back at the staircase, trying to ease his breath as he spoke. Where did that come from? I made it. How did you make it appear out of thin air? Think of it like this. In order for me to keep the library in working order, I have to be able to reach every book, right? Cade responded. Okay. So, the library lets me create things to get my job done. Oh, okay. So you're like some kind of magical librarian. Exactly. Now, let's get going. She began walking down the balcony, passing through the large opening in the bookshelf. It leads down a long hallway with a red carpet lining the floor. Cade stumbled to catch up to her, slowing down once he reached her side. His eyes couldn't remain still, examining the decorated brick walls with wonder. The seams between the bricks glowed a faint light blue, growing brighter the closer they came to the end of the hall. The deeper they traveled, the darker the area became. Soon, the only light keeping their path lit became the very walls themselves. Before he realized it, Lyric spoke. Finally, we're here. A smirk formed over her lips as Kate turned to face the grand door. It was large, let alone thick, decorated in golden designs fitting for that of a king. Near the center of the door rest 3 cloaked figures, standing in the shape of a triangle, each of them holding a piece of a shattered heart. Lyric took a step forward, placing her foot on one of the 2 small steps separating them from the door. Lyric? Kate said, stopping her in her tracks. What's that on the door? You mean the king's right hand? No, I mean the 3 people standing there, on the door. Yeah, the king's right hand. They were 3 of the king's greatest warriors, considered to be stronger than even his army. What king are you talking about? You never heard about him? Well, no worries. Once we're done, you'll know all about him. She walked up to the door, pressing her palm against the golden designs. She began forcing it open, a bright light emanating from the cracks. The blue light soon brightened the entire hall, causing Kate to shield his eyes. After taking a few seconds to adjust, Kate lowered his arm, wanting to know what hid behind such a large door. Lyric stands at the entrance, beckoning him in with a smile. Come on, Cade. You're going to love this. She scurried in, as Cade soon followed. A large blue ball swirls with energy at the center of the room, floating above a peaceful pond. 3 large statues tower above the ball, creating the shape of a triangle, each of the golden statues resembling one of the members of the king's right hand. The one on the left donned an extravagant armor, wielding a sword in his right hand. The one on the right wearing nothing more than a fur pelt, letting all of his scars show with pride. The middle one was the most mysterious out of the 3, donned in an old cloak with her face barely being visible. Cade turned his attention upward, noticing that 5 dragon-like golems rest where the ceiling met the walls, each equally spread out from one another, resting on a protruding ledge as their mouths gape open. The ceiling itself was strange, being the shape of a dome and made out of glass. All that could be seen on the other side was pure black. Cade let out a simple wow, still examining the room as he spoke. Lyric gave off a soft chuckle before speaking. You haven't seen the half of it. She walked deeper in, even stepping into the inch-high water. Her hand pressed against the blue ball as her body held still, her eyes shut, focusing deep and hard on the words that she was about to speak, before finally speaking them. F1, L2, Codex, release! The ball exploded with energy, sending a shockwave throughout the entire room. Cade fell onto his right knee, placing his hand against the stone floor as to not be sent flying backwards. Energy shot out of the ball in the form of liquid lightning, connecting itself to the walls and statues nearby. The room doubled in size, seeming to stretch the very reality around them. After a second burst of energy, the ball subsided, returning back to its normal size. Cade lifted himself onto his feet, gazing at the back of Lyric's head. She looked over her shoulder, showing off the same old smile. Her eyes lifted to the ceiling, bringing Cade's attention to it. The dome had changed, now showing the vast universe above them. It slowly moved across the galaxy, showing beautiful stars and never-before-seen planets. The word breathtaking was an understatement. His eyes lowered to the dragons, noticing that they were no longer resting peacefully. Their eyes were burning red, as fire spewed from their mouths. All of the statues were alive, all except for one. The center dragon remained still, not showing a bit of life in its dead state. So, what do you think? Impressive, isn't it? Lyric opened her arms, motioning towards the entire room as a whole. Cade nodded, remaining perfectly still. He continued staring into the dragon's eyes, almost being mesmerized by them. Lyric walked over to him, giving his cheeks a soft pat. Don't go falling asleep on me now, Cade. Aren't you interested in the one true king? Cade snapped back into reality, responding, Yeah. Well, come here. I'll show you how to find a book. She grabbed him by the arm, pulling him over to the blue ball. Here, put your hand against the Codex, just like this. She placed her palm against it. Cade was a bit more hesitant, only allowing the tips of his fingers to touch the massive energy before pressing his entire palm. Lyric closed her eyes before speaking. Repeat after me. Show me the book with the one true king. Kate repeated what she said, strangely expecting something painful to happen. Kate's eyes gazed into the ball, watching as thousands of different books zoomed by. It appeared to be scanning every book inside the library, finally stopping upon one. Lyric's eyes opened with an "All right," before reaching her right hand inside. She slowly pulled her arm back, freeing the book as she did so. Here we are, the Book of the King. The cover was different from the other books Kate had seen. It was red, with designs made from gold. Even the pages were lined with a thin layer of gold, sparkling with the light of the blue ball. She pulled open the cover, briefly scanning through the pages before speaking. You might want to take a seat, Cade. This is going to be a long book. Hi, thank you for listening to the first chapter of my multi-chapter series. Sorry if the microphone sounds terrible. I'm using one right now that is held together by several layers of duct tape, and I am amazed at the moment that it is still working. Hopefully in the future, if this gains any traction really at all, I might be able to buy a better one, so I can record off of something that isn't made out of dog dookie. If you have any critiques to give me, I'm sure to welcome them at the bottom of the comment section below. Down below, as the YouTubes call it. And if you just have any ideas or anything like that, feel free to let me know as well. I'm planning on this to be a weekly thing, so every day at around, or what am I talking about? Every Saturday, we'll release a new one. Hopefully my college, because that's about to be starting up, won't get in the way too much, and I'll still be able to release mildly good content. Also, before I forget, since I make these within a week, don't expect this to be on par with a graphic novel. First of all, I would not go as far to call me advanced by any means. If there was any word to use to describe me, it would be more so of a novice, or even go as far as a fan fiction writer, even though this is a story that I made up on my own and not based off of any other storylines, even though the themes or the story is taken from some inspired, but it's not stolen or a spin-off series of it. Thank you for listening. I guess hope to see you in the next one. Hope for you to listen to the next one. It's a better thing to say, I guess. Anyway, bye-bye. But, hi. Thank you for listening to the first chapter of my multi-chapter series. Sorry about the mic quality. Right now I'm using a mic that is held together by several layers of duct tape, as well as not intervening with my social life, because everyone has to have one of those, or well, mine's kind of shit anyway.